As a little girl, I loved gardening with my grandparents and taking long bike rides to mystical wonderlands, so I could pick a bounty of weeds to make beautiful bouquets for my grandmother. I would always dream of having a secret garden. Well, not quite so secret, but you get me, the magical kind. Wanting to share the joy and the passion of plants and produce and flowers with others. I always wanted to have a greenhouse. Having a family and responsibilities, especially early on, I felt that I could not have that until I was seasoned. I'd always say, oh, when I'm seasoned, I'll have the greenhouse. Well, over the years, while denying myself that until I'm seasoned, every year our gardens expanded. And valuable time was spent with my family, growing, planting, expanding, tending, especially my mom. And also during this time, I'm building a successful career where I started my very first territory. And in less than 8 years, I grew it from scratch to over $5 million in advertising. Then I would go on to my next career where, again, I started a territory from scratch. This time growing it to over $100 million in premium in less than 10 years. During the last several years, since I've lost my mom and tucking away and not dealing with grieving, missing her, during multiple scheduled thinking times, realizing that winter was hard. I really missed my mom. I really missed our springtime, tending to the gardens, planting, expanding, all of that, spending that quality time. What could I do in order to feel that connection? I thought, wow, no better time than now to start a greenhouse. If I have a greenhouse in the wintertime, I can be in my green space with the sun and it be warm, 80 degrees or better. But I'm like, I really can't do that until I'm seasoned. But in really thinking about it and being strategic with that thinking time, how would I enjoy the greenhouse and everything if I didn't get started now? So what I did was I visualized myself in a 24 by 60 greenhouse. And I did this multiple times. Would this be big enough? And every time I visualized that 24 by 60 greenhouse, I could just see me running out of space and being frustrated and regretting the fact that I was a cheapskate and that I wouldn't get the 24 by 96 4-season like I wanted. So that one could be the expansion of everything grand in my dreams. I told nobody. I got on there and I ordered it. This was during the supply chain issues, so I waited for months and months and months. And during this time, I kept visualizing, what is it going to be like? What are we going to do? How are we going to grow this? How am I going to build this? So I wrote out business plans and everything else. And then one day I'm in my territory. It's in August. I get a phone call. And it's the train depot. And they're like, your greenhouse is here. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I ended up calling my husband. It's his birthday. And remind you, I did not tell anybody or ordered this greenhouse. And he answered and I was like, hey, can you go get our greenhouse? It arrived at the train depot today. And he asked me no questions, because this is something I've spoke about for over 20 years. And he went and picked up the greenhouse. From that point on, my family and I, we worked diligently nights and weekends after work. Hand shoveling and leveling over 200,000 pounds of dirt. Driving 52 stakes 3 feet deep in rocky clay soil. Over a period of several months we were building and working on the greenhouse. We had to rebuild our end walls 3 times to get the ventilation just right. But then one day, it was all completely finished. And our gardens were all planted. And then we started our very first market season. The lesson here is never short yourself. Never shortchange yourself. Go for it. If you have a dream and it's something you really want to do and you're passionate about it, get started today. Take action now. You can figure it out. If you wait for it to be perfect, it will never be perfect. It will never happen. So get started today. Just go out there and just send it. And you will find your joy.